Just confirm me, you can see my screen. Just give me the heads up, or
Yes,
just
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We can see that. Yeah.
thank you. All right. Okay, so I can see some of you are new participants here. Last time we had some more additional participants. So just a small intro about myself. I'm going to be your facilitator for the next, in the total 8 sessions. So we have already done the first session on the HR analytics on the introduction bit. So I'm a founder of Prism Philosophy. I'm an international trainer, consultant, author, and a speaker. When I say author, I would like to highlight here the book is written on fundamentals of research, which is really important for all of you, where you can actually use it and apply in your day-to-day life, focusing into the analytics front. So with the 20 years of risk experience with the blue chip organization, from the global conglomerate like Honeywell, Indian largest private bank, ICICI Bank, Moody's is a credit rating company, handling the recertification business and the quality per se, was some of my experience in this organization I had, and I focused onto the L&D and the quality verticals. I happened to do my PhD, which the topic was into the followership. The world talks about the leadership. I said, let me talk about the followership. So it was absolutely a different insight topic, and it really made me, talk about at a very different level altogether. And ISTD is doing a lot of program on such kind of subject, and you can actually join that. Uh, so I have done a lot of research paper, and yes, L&D and HR is very close to my heart. And I would say my association with ISTD is such that, it's almost now touching uh, 10, almost like 10 years with ISTD. And my experience with them and my learning with them is so very wonderful that I have always felt close with them, and it's become my family now. So Prism is basically into the corporate trainings, OD consultancy, and we have our own academy, and we are now moved into the yoga and wellness. So that's the domain I have been doing it with my set of trainers, right? Okay, so the certain tips and hygiene for the session, which I always prefer, use the chat box, and kindly request to use the mute button. And if you have to share, because I would be doing a activity driven, so just unmute yourself or use a chat box. Polling element we will be using in the future session, but not today that we have. And I'm there in the social media. You can get in touch with me at Anubha Walia. You will write or hashtag Anubha Walia. So it's always good to connect with all these great professionals here who are with me. Okay, so to start with, I did talk about on the session 1, which focused on the overview of HR. So here I also touched on what were the concepts that got used and how the HR people and the workforce work, what are the paraphrase. We talked about the benefits of HR analytics, understood the history of HR analytics, how it started from the scientific management by the Taylor, and then the importance and challenges. So that was a basically context setting, which I did with the participants or the students of ISTD in the last session. Now, today's session, I'm going to focus very strongly on to the tools that we can use in HR analytics and what is the career options which are available, and in analytics, what are the various analytics domain that you can work on. So these are the 3 key objectives I have for today's session for all of you, because, in this, the tool is going to take the maximum time. And what I have learned in my past that lot of people and lot of HR professionals, or in fact, I would say not only HR professional, but any professional, a part of any vertical or any domain. It could be from finance, it could be from HR, it could be from ops, it could be from production. We all are doing analytics somewhere or the other place, and they really don't know which all tool to use. So let's try and build on it. Let's get a flavor of all the tools that we have. So before I start, what happens usually is you would have observed that there is a project that we execute in an organization, and then there is a process that we follow, that status quo that we have. So what happens is when I'm executing a project, I capture 80% of data and I do 20% of time into the analysis front. Just to give you an example, the attrition rate in an organization is increasing at an increasing rate. Or the second example could be the customer dissatisfaction score is going high. Now, this can be a part of the project. It could be a part of the project management. It could be a part of the Six Sigma, the Black Belt project, Green Belt project, or it could be a quality circle project. So there are various methods and the way we get to know about these and initiate this project, and to control the dissatisfaction of the customers. And the second one I was, let's say, talking about, it can be on any, like the attrition is going high. So we capture the data. So my focus is more on to the how to capture the data, and then I end up doing the analysis front. Now, when I talk about the process front, where there is some input and then there is an output, and in that input to an output, I have a respective process. So I capture 20% of the data and I spend most of my time into the analysis front. So you will see I use a dashboard, I do a lot of correlation, I do competency analysis, I use some kind of measurement techniques, So this is how the difference between project and process have to be understood. And here, when I'm talking about, you need to figure it out and understand is, are we capturing the data for the project, or are we actually working on the analysis front to understand the process? So here the role of the function of HR becomes very, very important. So let's try and build on it. What organization do is they use a various kind of tool to understand. Now this tool are for working towards the analysis. The capturing of data can happen on one of the platforms, there are a lot of data mining that can be done. But then most important is, once I have collected data, where do I need to analyze? How do I need to analyze, And that's how you will find that tools like Python, Spss, MATLAB, R, Minitab, SAP, Tableau, we all kind of stuff, we use such tools in, analyzing the data. So what they say is that the growing demand, and the importance of data analysis in the market, which has really generated many openings worldwide. And we should complement this because, it has become slightly tough to shortlist the top data analytics tool. Now, this has become the challenge. So there are various open source which are available, which are more popular, user-friendly and performance-oriented than the paid version. So I said two things. One is the open source tool, which is a free tool. And the second one is that I mentioned is the paid tool. That is a paid version. So, it is again on the objective of the organization. So there are many open sources I'll highlight here is, it doesn't require, you need to know of the knowledge of codings for that matter. And you can manage to deliver the better results than the paid version. I'm being very honest here. So you don't have to pay for the tools. So for an example, R programming in data mining, Tableau is a public software again. Python is used for data visualization. And, so there are various data analytical tools you will find, which are used for the learning and the performance. So R is the leading analytics tool, which is used in an industry and widely used for the statistics and data modeling. So if you are using, end of the day, when I talk about analytics, that means you have to be strong in your maths and you have to be strong in your, stats. Now, I don't say that you have to do a calculation. The tool will take care of it. I don't say that you have to use the formulas and you have to learn the formulas by your side in the stats. No. What I want to focus here is you should be knowing as an analytics professional which statistical tool to apply for the analysis purpose. So this is where I was highlighting. I can see someone is given in the chat box something. I'll just help to read it out. Yeah, I'm coming to this, my dear Binita, to share with this. So I started with sharing about the R. This is the first one, which is a paid tool, unpaid tool, which is a free tool, right? So as I was mentioning, uh, in the stats, there are a lot many types of uh, uh, methods which are available. There are parametric and versus non-parametric. I'm just touching this aspect right now, but you know just to give you an example here, a lot of time I've seen people don't know that when my population is known, which tool to apply, which method to apply. When my population is not known, which method to apply, they don't know. So it's very, very critical and important. You should be having that knowledge for yourself. So as Binita just asked me, so the first free tool is R. Now it is a very, I would say, strong leading analytical tool in the industry which gets used, and it can actually easily manipulate your data and present it in a different manner altogether. So it has exceeded SAS in a many ways, like capacity of data, performance and outcomes. It complies and runs on a wide variety of platform. It could be used on Unix, it could be used on Windows, it could be used on Mac. So it has 11,000 plus packages, and it actually allows you to browse the packages by category wise. So this tool is to automatically install all the packages as per as per your requirement. So if you are the user, you should be knowing how to assemble with the big data, right? The second one is Tableau. Again, that's a free platform. It's a free software. It actually connects any data source to be corporate data warehouse from the Microsoft Excel or the web-based data, and it can actually create a data visualization map. So I'm just giving you very limited stuff right now. I have a detailed description here also. And you can easily share through this via social media or with the, directly to your client. It actually allows the access to download the file in a different formats. And you want to see the, if you want to see the power of Tableau, then you must have a good data source. If the data source is not there, then again, it's a challenge. So the Tableau's big data capabilities actually makes them important, and the ones can analyze and visualize the data better than any other data visualization software maker. Python, the third one, again, that's a free. It's a object oriented scripting language, right? Now, which is easy to read, write, maintain, and it is a, as I mentioned, free source. Now it was developed in 1980 by, I remember this gentleman is Rossum. Okay, so it actually supports both functional and the structural programming method. It's easy to learn as it is very similar to the JavaScript, Ruby, PHP. These are some technical elements, but just that you should be knowing about them. Okay. And it actually handles the text data very, very well. SAS, SAS, it's a programming environment. And here the languages of the data are manipulation in the leaders analytics, which was developed in 1966 by the SAS Institute. My dear, this is a paid version. Okay, so in this you can access, manage and analyze from the any source, and it has introduced a large set of products, focusing on to the customer intelligence, and it has a various numerous model for a web, for the social media intelligence, marketing analytics, HR analytics, and it can actually also predict the behavior, manage and optimize the communication. That's the power of SAS. Okay, just to give you an example here, I was reading an article and I was observing that the median age of India is 29 years, and in Japan it is touching now 55 years. And you will be so surprised that they checked and analyzed. It was released in World Economic Forum, that Japanese are going to suffer with being lonely. How did they get to know about this? If the WEF, World Economic Forum, is talking about it in the social platform, whether it is LinkedIn or in their website, they have done this analysis through the various ways. So that's the power of the things, you know. There is another question I can see on the chat box. I'm sorry, I will be keep looking into it. Um, yes, would you like to know if someone from non-coding background should and can learn this? Yes, Bhumi, anybody can learn it. As I mentioned, you being from any background, HR background right now, I can sense, because if you're doing an ISTD course, there has to be some HR, subject that you will have. My suggestion here is, as I'm saying, that you should not be knowing what is the formula for profit and loss account. You should not be knowing how to do a regression analysis, but you should be knowing which regression tool to be applied, you know, whether it is a multiple regression or a single regression. You should be knowing that and when to apply that. So you as an expert should have that knowledge. Rest, the tool will take care. Rest, your juniors who are an expert into it, they can take care. You don't have to learn on the coding front. I mean, I don't do coding, but I know which method I have to apply. To give you an example, if I have to know, a person who drink a typical kind of wine which is made up of green chili. So in this, I need to do a research based on snowballing. So this, you should be knowing what exactly snowballing and how to apply snowballing, and only snowballing is going to be effective here. Because here we are talking about a very specific kind of customers. Okay, okay, let me talk about the Spark. Spark is actually a data science, which is built on data science, I would say, and is a concept that makes data science effortless. And it is also popular for data pipeline and machine learning model development. So it includes, machine library. It actually provides the progressive set of machine algorithm, and for repetitive data science techniques like classification, regression, collaborative filtering, clustering, you know. So that is the beautiful thing with the Spark. The most popular and the widely used and used for the analytical tool is Excel, my dear. So when you are an expert in SAS or on Tableau, you will still need to use Excel. Excel, that becomes important when there is a requirement of analytics on the client internal data. It's analyze the complex task and summarizes the data preview. So before I go down, let me ask the question to all of you. How many of you can tell me how many columns and rows are there in Excel? Please use the chat box and write down. How many rows and Excels are there in the Excel?
Unlimited.
So Praveen says don't know. Unlimited. Viraj, no, it's not unlimited. Thousands, more than thousands, more than 1,000, Namita. How many of you have Google Access right now? 60,000. I don't remember the exact number. No, very nice, Bhumi. You are talking very nice number into the row front. Yes. Anyone can use Google. I have no problem. I like that. It was 63,365 or something. Okay. A column is, no, it's more than 10 lakhs. Okay. All right. To give you a brief, yes, rightly said by Bhumi, it is like touch. Oh, lovely, Arvind. Thank you so much. So you nailed it very nicely. Arvind said it very correctly. 10 lakhs 48,000 are the rows, and approximately 16,000. Okay, 384. I knew 16,300. So that's nice, Binita. Thank you so much for this. So guys, when I just have 10 lakhs plus columns, and I have, some amount of columns, which is like touching 16,000 only. So I can only capture this much of data. what if I have to analyze the data for last 10 years? The Excel will not run it, because first of all, even if I, let's say, do a sum of all the total, it's going to take 15 to 20 minutes. So that's why I have to use the tools. So I can sense, and there was a one question which was coming up, and what Arvind was saying, these tools are really strong, found that Tableau can connect to the, absolutely, my dear. So Arvind, actually you can, connect through SQL Server, Excel for analysis, and you can support the Oracle. So that's how it becomes really nice in this kind of scenario. So keep using Excel, I would say. All right. Then we have Rapidminer. Rapidminer, again, it's an integrated data science platform. And in this, the predictive analysis gets performed very well. Now, let me tell you what exactly is predictive analysis, so that before I touch upon, although we will be talking about this in the future sessions, एक example के साथ चलते हैं. So there is something called descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive. So when I say descriptive is all about average, mode, median, right? Standard deviation. These are all descriptive. When I talk about predictive, it's like I predict from the past record. Based on the past record, what will happen? I prescribe. This is the prescriptive. So I use it with a very simple example of doctor. When you go to the doctor, you say, doctor, that I am having a fever. So what do doctor do? He will ask you for the descriptive question. Since when are you having? What was the maximum temperature? What medicine you have taken? So these are all descriptive related, right? Then based on that, he will predict by using some kind of test, right? He says, okay, blood test karaiye, yeah, BP test karao, and so on. And then you get the test done. And then based on that, he will or she will predict that you're probably having X problem or Y problem or Z problem. And based on that, he or she, the doctor, is going to prescribe the prescription, give the medicine. Analytics is exactly in the same manner. So you should be knowing and playing around with the data. Okay. So in this, the Rapidminer actually do your data mining, your text analytics, your machine learning, your visual analytics without any programming. You don't have to learn programming, my dear. So the Rapidminer can actually incorporate with any data source type, including the Excel, Microsoft SQL, Teradata, Oracle, IBM, MySQL, IBM SPSS, DBase database, what we call it. So this is how the formats gets used for the predictive analytics. KINME, that is Constant Information Mines, which was developed very recently. It's only just 1.5 decade old software developed by the software engineers. And it's again an open source and integrated analytical tool through the visuals. And you can, do a visual programming too. So this is how another one. Then there is a quick view. Again, many features like, the patented technology, which has in-memory data processing. It executes the results very fast to the end users and stores the data in the report itself. That's the beautiful thing about the quick view, right? Then we have Splunk, which is a tool that analyze and search the machine generated data. So it pulls all the text-based log data, and it provides a simple way to search through and use, which can pull all kind of data and perform all kind of interesting statistical analysis. And it can be actually presented in different kind of formats. So to give you a very simple highlight onto the various top companies, the most popular tools that they're using are Python, Spark, Storm, Pig, Hive, gets used by Accenture, Pinterest, Ola, FB, TCS, Genpact, Citibank, Twitter, Uber, Flipkart, Yahoo, Groupon. Everyone is using. Look at the Netflix is using Spark, and we all are in Netflix like anything. The commercial space, definitely all the banking sector, consultancy organization, they will, they are actually using SAS at a very different level altogether. And they do and work on the projection of the future. What is the changes that you can expect? To give you an example here, COVID when happened, and there was a challenge of the medical insurance, and medical insurance was not covering if somebody was having COVID, and they projected it that the rate of medical insurance will go high, and it will start including the COVID as a very important segment into it. And trust me, it worked wonders. And I remember 15th of March, if you are taking a term insurance of 1 CR, it was costing approximately ballpark figure of 85,000 for 1 CR. 31st of March, immediately after the lockdown of 22nd, from the 1st April onwards, the same cost turned out to be touching approximately 1,90,000 for 1 CR. So it actually doubled. Tableau is one which is very strongly used. You will find that not only the manufacturing sector but very strongly used by the advertising world. And Excel, I think every company, every human being, even today, we are using it. Then we have Quick Views, Splunk, very strongly used by Coca-Cola, Cisco, Deloitte, Citi, Good Data, ING, and so on. So you will see that there are two set of tools. One is an operational tool and one is a strategic tool. When I have the operational related tasks, I am working on workforce planning or the talent acquisition, or I want to know the benefits the people are going to get either on the front of PF or PPF or EPF, or the leaves that they take, or the total rewards that we do. I want to know the payroll or the training or the LMS approach. So you will find such tools which is there, operational tool like Insight, PF Tracker, Leave Management, My Academy, My Pay, and so on. But then strategically we have to work on, then there is a respective framework that we use, which is for the long term. And you will find the organization has started using HCM, TM Scorecard Portal, Career Compass. These are all strategical tools that gets used. And they are mostly for the decision making. So let's understand the advantages and disadvantages before I go furthermore deep dive into the other tools which one I use. I'm going to highlight that in some time. So what exactly happens in the data analytics blocks schematic? First is I do a data sourcing. So before I proceed, where all I can source my data from, please use the chat box or unmute yourself and share. Where all I can get my data from.
What data pertaining to? Pertaining to what field?
Anything. Up to you.
Basically, there are two sources of data. One is called primary source, other is called secondary source.
Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic. What else? Okay, I can see someone writing on the chat box. So let me just. Okay, company internal data. Fantastic, Vinita. Very nice. Yes, we have sales data. We take industry data. We take external source data. Yes. HRIS system, beautiful that we have. See, it was all written on the screen. I was just still checking, but no problem. So you will see that we check the data. We get the data from social media. We get it from the sensors. We get it from the medical records, call details, and so on. There are various kind of data that are available in any of the firm. Based on the data sourcing, I do data analysis. That is extraction of the data. I do data profiling, and then I cleanse my data, because it is very, very important to cleanse, just to check whether all the data is in the same sync. Last time I've already touched upon that, what all error the people use. Suppose if you're writing date of birth, the two people would be writing date of birth in a different manner altogether, right? And then data deduping. So let's understand here, so when you are in the process of analyzing the data, it's set to, derive a very useful conclusion or information, which is known as the data analytics, that we have now understood. So data analytics involves a various operation on the data sets or a table which is available in the database. So it can include, as I mentioned, extraction, profiling, cleansing, and duping, so on. So analytics tools and solutions are used in the various industries. So let's say a banking sector, a finance, insurance, telecom, healthcare, aerospace, hotels, retailers, social media companies, and they all we get the sources, from a various different places altogether. So you will find, the entire process becomes very, very important. How do I extract my data and how do I use my data? Now, in this, when I'm working on data analytics, there are certain advantages also, and there are certain disadvantages also. The advantages is this: yes, indeed, it detect and actually correct what's mentioned on the screen is very clearly that it detects and correct the errors from the data sets with the help of data cleansing. Now, this helps in improving the quality of data and consecutively benefit both customers and institution. Example like banks, insurance, finance companies. Otherwise, we keep collecting the data and it can create a lot of havoc and problem. It removes the duplication and it decreases the cost to the company. That's a very strong point. And in this, we really have to use a lot of amount of memory space for the data, and that's what we go very deep dive into it. We display the relevant advertisement on the online shopping website based on the historical data and the purchases behavior of the user. So machine learning algorithm are gets applied in the same. You must have seen it. Just to give an example, let's say if I mean, I don't know, you must have observed this or not. Let's say Bhumi is today on Facebook. ठीक है जी, she is on Facebook and scrolling around, and she see one product by Kama, and she like click that, and then she get to know that there are various Kama cleansing product, maybe a conditioning, and maybe a face cleansing or body wash and so on. Now, after she close her FB, the moment she open her email ID, she will see an advertisement of Kama appearing. Again, she will open, let's say, Google. So she will see the Kama advertisement is again coming in somewhere or other in the banner. How does that happen? That is what is machine learning algorithm. Okay. So this is how we work on. Definitely another one, it reduces banking risk, by identifying probable fraudulent. I think for this, you all must watch Jam Tara, which is there on Netflix, and you will get to know the kind of frauds takes place, and how now Airtel has also started promoting that if someone is asking for some kind of money, there would be a dual, ref check and all that. So it's all in your hand. So kindly, one is that we need to educate the customers, but this helps for the future that those kind of fraudulent stuff doesn't happen. Used by security agencies for surveillance and monitoring purpose. That's again very, very strong. And they actually ensure that the information gets collected by the huge number of sensors, and it prevents the lot of wrongdoings stuff. Certain disadvantage, definitely the breach of privacy of the customers, the information such as what you're buying, your online transaction, the kind of subscription that you have, and we get to know the kind of a lot of customer database, and they say that your Siri and uh, what's this we have in Amazon? So,
Alexa.
Alexa, yeah. So they know more about you than anybody else, you know. So they start reading your mind. You know, so the cost of the analytics tool, again, based on the application features and support that we have, and the way we use the complexity of it. And we have to have a training budget for that, because we really need to train people onto it. And this actually increases the cost of the company, which is willing to adapt various analytical tool or the software. The information obtained using data analytics can also be misused against group of people. Just to give you an example here, you must be going to the photocopier guy to get your IDs, you know, your KYC documents. It could be your birth proof, it could be your Aadhaar card, it could be your passport, you know. What does this guy do? Do you think the photocopier machine is earning a money with your photocopy? No, my dear. You will be surprised that he takes out 2 copies. 1 copy he will give it to you, and he'll be paid from you. But the second copy, he makes the entire data docket, because that's the authenticated original docket, and your entire information gets extracted and gets bought by a different agency. Another very important insight here: we all travel worldwide, right? Boarding pass, kindly tear the boarding pass very in a very small pieces, because the boarding pass has a scanner chip there, and the fraudster, they, if you throw your boarding pass, you know, they still scan that barcode, all your details about where you had gone, which bank did you use, uh, how much money you paid, all the details get, you know, extracted by them. So these are the small things we really have to take care of it. Okay. And then definitely, difficult to select the right data analytics tools. This is something which is the major disadvantage, and I have seen a lot of people are facing challenge for it. And I've seen a lot of time gets wasted, because they, you know, due to the fact it requires a knowledge of the tools. And I, even in the section 1 also, I focused on that. Even today's session, I'm also focusing on that. You should be knowing what tool to use. Your time should be spent on learning those tools and how you're going to apply it, nothing more. No one is asking you. For you, do you have a different data scientist people that will take care of the analytics, and they'll take care of the respective coding and all that. Otherwise, nothing will happen. You will end up using and increasing the time and the cost for the company and for yourself. Okay. So as I mentioned, any query, any question if you have. So I see a chat box of 4 set of things. Just hold on for me. Google Analytics play the part. Yes, definitely, Bhumi. Very strong Google Analytics. You will find that now a lot of people have started. Even you yourself can do it, you know. AI plays the part there, absolutely, on this. How this machine learning works is best explained. Yes, my dear. I think you all should watch Social Dilemma. Thank you, Yamini, for bringing this out. I thought of sharing it towards the end, but you became the showstopper by this statement. So thank you so very much, Yamini. You all must watch today's Social Dilemma. And OTT platform, yes, it is available there. Perfect. Yes, it's there on Netflix to do that. Okay, so for the tool R, we have is HR analytics tech driven only? Yeah, my dear. You can use the Excel. I mean, the technology is one bit, but then end of the day, you should be knowing about the, let's say the graph which I have in front of you. So let me understand from here. Okay. Now, can you see the graph on where I'm making a circle? Now, what does this depict? Who will tell me? Anyone? What does it represent? Yuvala.
It's a population scattered diagram.
Yes. So there are, population scattered. So very simply, it says about the correlation is not existing between the two variables. Very simple. You should not be, you should be knowing how to read the data. So if you will see the below diagram, you can see that the correlation is very strong. So if any line going towards the upward direction, that means it's a positive correlation. If it is going down, that means a negative correlation. The data pointer, which is very near to the line, that means a very strong positive correlation. The correlation cannot have more than +1 score. Very simple. So here you should be very, very clear into it. The same very way, this is my standard deviation, the normalization of the curve. So let us do this now. Okay, I'm going to do one insight with all of you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I will open up the whiteboard. Is my board visible to each one of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm making 3 graphs. Okay. Again, it's same 0 to 100. And for this is my right skewed. This is my left skewed. What is that? How do we identify the left skewed and right skewed? Where my tail is going. So my tail is going towards my right. That's why it's called right skewed. My tail is going towards my left. That's why it is left skewed. Okay. Now, who will tell me on the point? This one is A. This is A. This is B. And this is C. Chaliye. There are 3 sections, A, B, C. Okay. I want to know which section this graph depicts the score of maths. ठीक है जी? Who will tell me which section has done well? That's the first question. Second question, what is the average score they are getting? You have to tell me what are the mode in this, that is the maximum marks they are getting. And what is the medium? That is, what is the maximum number of the score people are getting? Yes, the centermost point, the center figure, the maximum marking point, and which average and which section is the best, A, B, C. Please unmute yourself, you can do that.
So section A has the maximum number of average number of students who have scored well.
Okay.
So that is my reading. And C, maximum number have scored less, and the peak, that is the maximum number of marks. No, many people have scored. Sorry.
No problem, you can try. You have to tell me mode, median, average. See, this is what I am not saying that you have to become perfect immediately and I can expect that answer. But my, I just made this for you to make you all realize this is your knowledge should be strong at. And here you can do analysis then fast. The data analytics can take out this graph for you. Okay. So you should be knowing that I want the normalization curve, and for that standard deviation and average has to be taken out. Your people can take that out and they'll give you the graph. How to use this graph, this is what your competency should be. So let me make you explain here, and then you will do it for section C. We'll not talk about A, I'll talk about B first. ठीक है जी? Now, okay, I'll not do spotlight, I'll make the blue one. ठीक है जी? Okay. this point, the peak point of any curve is mode. The peak point of any curve is called mode. What is mode? What is the definition of mode? Please use the Google, my dear. Use the Google,
Maximum.
right? Maximum occurrence of any digit, right? So if this is the maximum occurrence, now let's understand here, where would be my average? From 0 to 100, what will be the center point? 50? This will be my average. It is always on the axis. Between the mode and median, between the mode and average, you will get your median, which is somewhere here. Okay. I'm just using the hypothetical figure right now. Okay. So 3 mean minus 2, 3 median minus 2 mean is actually a mode. So that's how you will calculate. Okay. So very simply, I can very easily say that the maximum students are scoring not even 50, but somewhere around 25. And the most of the students, the middle point of the students are scoring somewhere around 35. So the section B is not good in maths. They are failing in maths paper if the passing percentage is 50. So if we see the figure C, if we see the C section, now who will tell me what is the mode here and how much would be the score of the student scoring?
Mode could be somewhere around
80.
Very good,
Some-
very good, very good. Yes. Average. Average to 50 का 50 रहेगा अपना.
Right.
Right? What would be my median? It's always fall between mode and median average.
Yes.
So
So
if,
somewhere around 60.
65K around, right? So
Right.
very clearly, I can now predict here is that the section C is scoring highest in maths, and majorly the maximum people are scoring 80, and more than, the maximum score, the people, the middle figure is 65. So this is how you predict and analyze the data. Whenever the figure, whenever your normalization of curve is, is absolutely symmetrical, in this point, your mean, median, mode, all three of them will be falling in this place. Always. That's the thumb rule.
So what does it say about the population?
So population here is, maximum population is lying between this to this. Very simple. Here the population maximum lying here to here. In this it is here to here.
So the group C has the best number of maths people who know. Okay.
Absolutely. This is how it works. Okay. So let me now stop sharing the screen. I'll make the PPT. So this is what was happening in the previous slide, what I was wanted. This normalization of curve is very much there. See, during your performance management, your organization decides that how many of you would be getting rating 1 if it is the best performers, and rating 5 being the lowest performers. So they identify that, they say that only 5% of the people should be getting 1 rating, 20% of the people should be getting 2 rating, and so on.
Oh,
So
the dreaded Bell's curve.
yeah. So it is all normalization here. What are they doing? They're only applying stats. Okay. Everybody must be thinking, when are your PMS going to happen? How much increment you all will get? Huh?
कितनी गाली दी है ये इसको तो.
क्या हो गया? Okay. Chaliye, let's move ahead. Okay, our studio actually gives you again a depiction of the various figures. You will see the diamond pricing, the gold rate. They got to know on the left hand side, the layoffs, resignation, and retirement which is taking place. On the right side, what will be the gold rate? What will be the future, diamond rates? Currently, the gold rate has gone down to 43,000. They're expected it's not going to go up by 6 months. So that's a projection that happens into this, So that's how it goes. Let me just see, someone has written on the chat box just for everybody. Yeah, Vicky's here, which is frequent. Okay. All right, so let's move ahead further. Python, this is how the Python looks like, and you will get to know your charts very beautifully depicted. Again, you just have to use the way we use the Excel. You use the data and then you project it and use it accordingly. For me, I would suggest if you want to learn Python or R, please join the Coursera course. Coursera is providing the free courses into it. Even you can learn the Tableau also in that. I think it's very, very nice to work on this platform and get your learnings in place. Okay, and then let me just give you more insight on to the, so I've talked about the Python. I'll not go very deep dive into it. Let me talk about the Excel. Yes, we use, common separated value CSV file for this. If you want to check how clean your data is, you can quickly transform a data into a table and check each column data with the respective outliers. So I will not go deep dive, but then very strong point is you should be using the pivot table. You should be very good at it, or else there is a other formats that gets used by the VLOOKUP. So keep using such kind of stuff into the Excel front. We have Power BI. It is a very strong business intelligence platform. It supports the dozens of data sources. You can create, you can share the reports, visualization and dashboards, and you can actually have a simple distribution and allow the users to build their own automated machine learning models. It integrates with Azure machine learning. So it makes the entire, I would say, aggregation, analysis and visualization very, very simple for all the people. Tableau is another one. Maybe I'm going to use the Tableau in a practical manner in the next class, because I first wanted to, and I knew the time could be a constraint. Otherwise, I could have done that. But I would be using one of the very small example of the Tableau, and you will see how the things actually works in a practical manner. It's a data visualization, and trust me, the data gets beautifully visualized either through the different kind of graphs that you have, pie, or it could be through a normal bar, or the simple bar, and so on. So it's being used very strongly, and it is a product of Stanford University. Let me tell you, Tableau. You'll find a lot of organization have started working into the visualization world by Storm, and they use it for the storytelling purpose also. So that has become very, very popular, and they start actually working on it. Then we have Visor. Again, it's an HRBI tool where you will find that in this you get to know that which employer are the most at risk of resigning within the next 18 months. Look at the prediction that the Visor is actually doing it. So it actually, a data aggregation which builds to answer certain set of questions about your workforce, your HR people, and the systems get developed absolutely on this. And you can actually work on by understanding the competency, by performance management, and if how much that individual is actually costing you. If the person leaves, what will be the exit cost, and what risk it will get into it, so that you can mitigate all of them. So it's a very wide platform that can be used again. And then so I will suggest that specifically those people who are working on the HRI system, these applicant, you can actually track these applicant and use the past trend to predict the future. So the specific employer risk of quitting, the cost of losing that employee, or the best internal candidate for succession planning. So use such stats for your growth of the organization and the effectiveness towards the performance management. Okay. This quick, as I was mentioning here, it's a self-service, data analytics. It's a business intelligence platform again, and supports both cloud and on-premises deployment. And you will see the data exploration and the discovery by technical and non-technical users alike, you know. So even if you don't have to be a technical knowledge into it. I mean, a lot of students here today is asking if I have to be technically sound. No, you can actually apply and use it, you know, and customize it as per your requirement and base. Okay, now if you'll ask me personally, I love SPSS. This is statistical package for the social science. It is one of the most commonly used HR analytics tool. I have been using it for almost like touching a decade. It's very user friendly and the interface is very easy. It's very easy to analyze the data without extensive statistical knowledge. So it's just that you should be knowing which method to be applied. Rest, nothing more. You know, and here I have seen, because SPSS is often used in the social science, a lot of HR professionals know how to use it. And if you'll ask me personally, I would recommend that learn SPSS. It's very easy to use, much easier than Minitab. Minitab is also being used by a lot of quality professionals, you know, because I also hold a, you know, another hat to myself is a black belt in Six Sigma and Lean Specialist and 5S champion. But then with the quality, you know, then you have this Minitab. Then the second one, as I mentioned, is SPSS. Use this, simply marvelous and very interesting to use the data for the data analysis. No, why we put SPSS on the list and not the biggest component, SAS. SAS has more user outside of the social science. But the moment I talk about social science, moment I want to know about the behavioral element, moment I want to work on to the variable component, which I can't measure, I will use SPSS. And you will find that there is some similarity with the Excel. You know, it makes the works really easier to work with. So consider SPSS as a stepping stone for companies with the less mature analytical capabilities. This is the only message I have, you know, from the SPSS. It makes it very easy to do any exploratory correlation analysis and a quick regression analysis. And you will find that it gets more complicated when you are using algorithm based or R. You know, even R is a very good for the youngsters. So in this, you will find a very simple way is the frequency distribution, graphs, you know, mathematical of arithmetic, geometric, and harmonic mean. So that's another one that we have. I'm going to talk about dispersion, about the quartile, mean, standard deviation, coefficient of range, correlation on the based of continuous data or an ordinal data, right? We work on the inferential analytics, on the random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified or cluster. And accordingly, I use the various factor analysis or cluster analysis based by working on the hypothesis testing. I see a chat box and then I'll just take that up first and then I'll move forward. Yeah. Okay. Yes, IBM. Okay. So how we work on this? Very simply, I work on the SPSS by working with significance level of alpha, you know, and if I'm working at 0.05 significance level, which means I'm confident that my 95% I will be correct. So I work with the p value, that is a probability value, which is a sigma value. If it is less than the alpha value, then I reject the hypothesis. It's a statistically significant. If it is greater than alpha, then I fail to reject hypothesis. It's a statistically non-significant. So this is on the aspect of how we use the hypothesis. So it's very simply, I will put it across like when you have HR analytics, paper by ISTD, and when we say that 100% of the students will pass Anubha's HR analytics paper, which means I would say that yes, if I say yes, that's my hypothesis. And that will only happen when my p value is less than alpha if I take the confidence level of 95%. ठीक है जी? I did talk about the correlation, positive and the negative, so I'll not go very deep dive into it. And then if it is scattered between the two variables, then there is no relationship. So you should be knowing which variables can lead to positive. For an example, the weight also increases when the height increases. So this is a positive relationship. Okay. So accordingly, you have to, so if you take medicine, the temperature goes down. So, if you take accordingly the good amount of medicine and it's reducing, so it's a negative correlation. Okay, so regression works on the independent and dependent variable. We know always on x-axis, we have independent variable. On the y-axis, we have dependent variable. We get to know and work on the very simple linear equation. And again, see, this is not the class of the stats, but you should be knowing when to use regression and when to use correlation. Very simple. So this is what happens into this domain. There is another, I think I can sense here in SPSS is paid, my dear, and is an expensive, Arvind. I would say it's not that expensive, but I think for the first month, it is free. And based on the users, the cost is there, but it's a must, I would say that. So you can have the first free version, practice on it, and then based on the organization requirement, you guys can make it. Yes, 99, like $100 per user per month. So that's what I'm saying. What usually the organization they do it is they actually take only a couple of users, and the ownership is given to them, and they only keep doing analysis. So that's how in their tray the request comes. They get the data, and then they just do the analysis, and you give the data. Okay. Perfect. Any query, any question if you have as of now? Okay. So HR analytics career, there is a set of tasks.
Can I ask question?
Yes, sir. Please, most welcome.
Actually, I'm working with a company. We don't have any big department for HR. Although it's a 2,000 crore plus company. So can I ask my company that I will be doing a part of HR analytics, and they can sponsor this $99 to me? But
Yeah.
what the value I'm going to add? My organization has something around say 400 sales executive, 100 area sales manager, and maybe 40 regional sales manager, or like this. This is the sales force, and the employees around say 1,500 employees working in the company.
If I may know, what is your role in this organization?
I'm a regional sales manager. I'm working with a Sanctuary Apply.
Okay.
It's a, yes.
Yeah. So it's a.
How can I add value to my organization at the same time? How can I learn?
Okay. If you want to know why the sales are going down, first, you want to know which initiatives can actually increase the sale. Or you want to share that which addition of a product can actually makes the profit for an organization. Or maybe a change in the process can lead to a growth of the organization. For this, you need analysis. So I'm talking from the sales perspective.
And from HR perspective?
From the HR perspective, again, how many people are like, so what's the attrition rate in Century?
Say 7-8%.
Okay, so you can say that I can help in reducing it to 4%. And let me tell you, when you say 78%, are you 100% sure about it? 7 to 8%? You have run the real calculation?
No. I need to find out data from my HR.
Absolutely. So this is where the analysis will take place. See, analysis happens only, firstly, we should be knowing the accuracy of the things, Majorly, we give the gut. We find and send the statements probability, and once we say probability, that is how the analysis will come in place, and that's how the null hypothesis and then working towards the calculation will come into place. So this is where my suggestion would be is people who are a great contributor, who those people are, let's analyze them. Why they are being best contributor, let's analyze that. What is that additional thing organization can do for them so that they become a part of succession plan? If they're not contributing yet they have a potential, what can organization do? Absolutely, this is what HR analytics will come into the place.
Yes.
Okay, super.
Right, thank you.
Thank you for asking this. Okay, so as I mentioned, HR analytics, analysts, they are task and competency. What happens is analyst has a very broad role depending on the organization, and it is asked from a different focus orientation. So quite a few organizations will find looking for an HR analyst from a predominantly soft skills. Let me tell you, soft skills become very, very crucial here. Why? Because hard skill, you have that knowledge, you have that skill-based approach. But getting to hear from your seniors and selling your thought to the seniors, your communication skills, your persuasive skills, your influencing skills, this becomes very, very crucial and important. So this makes the analyst, the function profile very similar to the HR business partner. So what I'm saying is HR business partner and the HR analyst is kind of on the same level. I'm putting them into the same level, because you become the voice. And this also means that there are very rarely analyst who's doing the analysis for 100% of their job. They're usually involved in the other operational task as well. So they need to have certain kind of things for them is business acumen, the first one. So the business acumen actually is becoming very increasingly important into the HR role. So before you analyze the data, you need to know what project you will work on. So right now, one of the, person participant asked me, ma'am, how can I apply in the, my organization? That means he's already started thinking about it. He's got those skills so that he can be involved and use it with a simple data analysis with the end-to-end analytics project. Second, communication and consultation. So communication and consultation is really, a skill. If you'll ask me, it's the second most important skill after the business acumen, because you are spending most of your time in analyzing the data and is only very little, and where you need to talk to your business, you need to talk to your stakeholders, set their expectations, get their expectation, communicate the results and the analytics projects to the relevant audience. It's really very crucial. So your communication skills becomes very, very crucial for me, if you'll ask me. The third one, if you'll ask me personally, would be relationship management. To manage a relationship and with the stakeholders specifically, it is a requirement for the analytics success. And you need to keep the business involved in your analytics projects, keep them up to date in the progress and the kind of a potential setbacks if we have. I would say from here, from business acumen to the communication to the relationship management, I would say HR expertise, whether you are more on a business partner side of the analyst role or a crunching number every single day. HR expertise is an essential skill. This expertise touches almost everything that you're doing and you do in your day-to-day job. You need to have the knowledge about what are the best HR practices going on. You need to know the knowledge of the science behind what we do in the HR. You need to understand the key HR processes. So these are the key elements, because based on that, another one is your data analysis, working towards the reporting and dashboarding, involved with the aggregation of data, maintaining the data, quality of the data, analysis of the data. This is how the thing becomes very important, because you're not only end of the day working on the descriptive analysis, but going to work on the very strongest predictive analysis. Then we have HR system and the implementation. Yes. And finally, by the global culture awareness. So HR system implementation, you will find that referred to as a human resource information system, that is HRIS. There is a transactional system contains most of the data that the analyst will work with. So mm, implementing, maintaining, updating. This becomes a part of analyst responsibility. Global and the cultural awareness, let me tell you, HR data is almost never local. As an analyst, you work with the global data. And for me, I use the word global, glocalization. So global and the cultural awareness is so essential that you understand where the data is coming from, and the cultural differences which can impact the HR. I want to give you example here. In Europe, in one of the hotels, 5-star hotels, they realized that a lot of attrition was happening. Attrition was touching somewhere around 28%. And they were very surprised that why they are having so much of attrition. They did a detailed study, detailed analysis. First, they got the data, kind of customers who are coming in, kind of employees who have been hired, that is their background, and for how long they have stayed in an organization, and what was the reason. So the exit. What they realized that mostly the customers, those who were walking into that particular hotel, was Asian based customers. And the people that organization was hiring, this hotel was hiring, were more not from the Asian side, but from the European side. And then they very smartly predicted that if we give the Asian flavor to our customer, probably they will get the great feedback, and then the more they will stay back. They changed the policy, and you will be so surprised that the attrition rate from 28 now it has come to 6%. So that is how the analysis took place, and that's how the predictive and the prescriptive approach happened in this hotel. It's a very big 5-star hotel in Europe, so it took a very strong element to it. So these are the 7 things that one has to take care. I will just see the chat box again. Okay, so that's Arun is start asking for the feedback. Okay, so how to become an HR analyst? Again, you need to have the background about your on the HR. ISTD is a very good course that you're doing. You need to have a certain tools knowledge, and you need to have a proficiency into the Excel. And I would say that HR knowledge is very important, focusing more on the quantitative and the qualitative skills, right? So if you have a blend of the economic stats, it's considered to be a very strong background to become an HR analyst. You also work with the HR data analyst and the HR business partner. As I've already mentioned, because HR analyst and business partner, they are kind of becoming a very big trend, and I put them on the same level altogether. And what they say, the description, what I have seen the JDs in most of the organization, what they're looking at is, they need to have a knowledge about the SPSS or Stata or Python or R. They need to having a HRS tool analysis, Excel wizard, HR knowledge very strongly, who understand the analyst into the HR function person, and definitely slice and dice of HR dashboarding, and directly work with the skill set of the business partner, which I described right now. So these are certain set of JDs I just wanted to share. So the stages works on based on the complexity and the business value. So when I see the complexity is also less and the business proposition also less, we just end up doing reporting. We share it to the seniors what has happened. Once the complexity is at the mid level and the business value is also important, there we work on the analysis part, which is why it happened, what is happening now, and then what can happen in future. That is your predictive. So that is where complexity is also increasing, and the business value will also have a good chunk to it. So that's the stages the people organization work on. And the last, analytics domain, you will find everywhere it is getting used now. It is not only into the retail sales, but also into the talent, collection, telecom, web analytics, supply chain, fraud, marketing, risk, consumer behavior, marketing analytics. So everywhere the analytics is taking place at every step. And trust me, if you start using, you start with a small element. I don't say that you have to buy SPSS immediately basis, because end of the day, you should be knowing how to work on SPSS, because there is a data and the variable that you have to work on. Although it's a very easy tool, but you can simply start with an Excel. Even a lot of people I know, they don't know that even in the regression and the correlation metrics can be done in Excel. So just try to work on that. So these are the analytics domain, and you can actually increase and share your knowledge to your corporates. The student tools and metrics, I would be taking this in a very detailed manner in the next session, because these are the metric type which I'm going to use, and I will be sharing the link with all of you. But then just to tell you how we work on the rate, ratio, composition, time, cost, quality, satisfaction, and these are the certain where we'll get to know. Just to give an example, if I'm working on the cost, I want to work on the organizational expense, revenues, profit, and values. If I'm talking about the satisfaction, I'm talking about the perception of the process, programs, and experience. Time, focusing on the cycle time, volume of time invested, every timeliness of events that takes place, So that is how the description of the tool and metrics that we will always use. We always use for the analytics purpose. Okay. Query question, anyone? Before this is the last slide for all of you. The common mistake to be avoided. Kindly do not focus HR efficiency metrics only. The first, using analytics to hire a lower level people, but not when assessing senior management. Guys, analytics is very powerful when you use it for the senior management. 100% accuracy of data before analysis is accepted. Kindly ensure data is accurate. I've seen a lot of fudging of data which happens. And see, because of that, mistakes happens. Major problem with HR and the seniors. We rely on a very few metrics to evaluate the people performance. We have to ensure that we cover the maximum. We keep the metric live even when there is no clear business reason. What are we going to do? So we keep just working on that. So just no for that. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your effort. And assessing employees only on a simple measure such as grades, test score, which often fail to accurately predict success. So please do not do this mistake. So these are the very common mistakes I've seen. I thought of sharing it with all of you, because don't come into this trap. I've seen, because a lot of HR people think, oh, let's figure it out the last 5 years performance of the people, or let's see what was the rating of the person in the last 5 years. That should not be the criteria. I think we really need to give a bigger picture to it and understand what is the objective of the organization, so that you bring the best on the table as an HR analyst, right? Are we good? Okay, so thank you so much. This is me. And if you want to touch base with me, you can always WhatsApp me, you can mail me, anubhawalia@gmail.com, or you can just click on prismphilosophy.com. You'll get all the details, or you write my name on Google, Anubha Walia. Google Baba will tell you everything about Anubha Walia. So you can reach out to me anytime. Okay, query question. Yes. It's 7:25. I never realized. My God, time flies. Okay, so I feel there's no question. So thank you so very much. The next week we will have another extension onto the front of HR analytics, and we'll try to do one of the practical into the Tableau element, so that you learn in a great manner. Are we good?
So good, ma'am.
Yeah.
Very good, ma'am.
It was a wonderful session.
Very good session.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Pleasure.
Yeah. Ms. Walia, just wanted to know, I do know this is available on YouTube. The whole session is available on YouTube. But could you also please, this is just a request, could you also please share the PPT on...
I would be. That I would be, definitely. So nothing to worry on that.
We have a classroom. I hope you would. You must be aware of it.
And I always send it to Arun. He's going to share it with each one of you. He's going to put it into the classroom.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Walia.
Pleasure. Superb. So have a great Sunday. Thank you so very much. Namaste from my side. And it was really nice to interact with each one of you. Pleasure. Thank you.
Same here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.